Okay, we're recording conversations with Deborah, a bi-coastal dialogue with Deborah Manning. I'm Malcolm Berman, and this is going to be a unique one because I was talking to Deborah at the earlier part of the day, and we have our normal differences. Then I got a message from her that she doesn't want to do the show anymore, and I have no idea why. But she said, let's do a final show and she'll explain.
I will, and I think it's important that I explain.
Explain to me.
I will. I think we've really come to a precipice here in America. It's no longer we're no longer able to discuss viewpoints, because if we discuss viewpoints, suddenly we're threatened if we have a viewpoint that is not in keeping. And the problem I have at this point right now that concerns me, and let me turn off my phone here.
Beep.
I know.
Actually, I should turn off my alarm also.
There we go. Well, you're hearing the security alarm around our home and what have you. And as I've mentioned, that we live in a working class neighborhood here in Greenville, South Carolina. Very nice neighborhood. But recently we've been having quite a spat of crime. And it's been of real concern to the entire neighborhood. So as a result, I have a whole series of cameras, probably maybe too many, but it's not too many for me. In my former life, I used to be a security expert in terms of installation of security cameras and what have you. So at any rate, getting back to the whole issue of what's happened to America, I think we have some real problems here when we can't even discuss facts. I don't know that we're getting the facts at this point right now. And I think when we had the discussion today in terms of illegal immigration, in terms of the use of stimulus money, only less than 10% was actually going to COVID to solve that problem. The rest of it was going to pet projects, unfortunately, that seem to maybe have a different place in a different bill, but unfortunately were put into this bill and passed strictly by the Democrats and with no Republican votes for it. We've got a real serious problem here. And it's gotten to a serious enough issue where people feel as though it's okay to threaten other people. I've been threatened, and I'm reporting it to the police. And I think it's part of it has come from part of my comments here. And I think part of it came from attitudes that people have of how can she possibly think that way? How can she possibly, say things like that and all of that? I can say things and think things because this is America and we have free speech. And you know me, and as a former news reporter, and I still maintain my integrity on that, I'm an independent thinker, and I'm not here to purport any particular viewpoint. I'm here to really seek what's best for all of us, for America. And I know that sounds like a Pollyanna, but it's not. I think it's something that all of us need to be able to be very, very aware that America needs to be for all. And I'm very, very concerned that because of speaking a certain way or having certain thoughts, that suddenly people think that it's okay to threaten other people. It's not okay. And I know here in South Carolina, the anger is growing, and it concerns me. It honestly concerns me, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything of that nature. But you have to understand that the wishes and the thoughts and the concerns of more than 75 million Americans are being completely unheard, and not only unheard, but are being condemned and are being threatened. That's not America. That's Venezuela. That's Cuba. That's communist China. It's other places that, in fact, many, many millions of people want to come here to America so they can have the same they can have freedoms, the freedom of being happy, of being with a family, of doing better. And it concerns me terribly what's happening here. And I don't know that I have a place necessarily. I think you probably need to have another liberal voice on your broadcast. And I want to thank you very, very much for this opportunity to speak frankly during this period of time that we've had to. And you and I have had a long history, uh, uh, being my producer and when I was on the air with my late husband doing the financial radio network. We had a great time, but things have changed, and things have changed, haven't they, Gracie? Yep.
There she is, making her another entrance.
She is. She's special. She's a special, special girl.
You can tell Fish it's okay. I see his arm.
Yes.
But actually, I'm disguised as Grace.
Now, yeah, I can't hear him.
Oh, he's disguising himself as Grace. This is his Grace costume. So
Oh,
it's not.
I saw the movie with Kim Novak as a cat. But anyway, I see something. I mean, I'm not sure of danger because I'm not involved with it. As far as you, I can understand. But as far as differences, that's the only way that we can make this better is by people talking the differences and seeing.
But our problem is this: is that we cannot even come up with an agreement on facts, and I blame tremendous amount of that on the news media. They're not delivering us facts and information. They're delivering us opinions, and there's plenty of opinions that are out there.
Right, but both of us agree on that. That's not part of our disagreement. And the thing which I think can, despite our differences, it's our actions agree. What we want to do and what we want for this country and what we want, and as we are as people. I mean, that's our commonality. The politics is only part of what makes us us. So again, we might disagree on a certain as an interpretation of the facts, and I have one thing, I see one thing, and you see another. But that's something that you discuss. That's something that as you say, that makes our country. What I think and what you think are opposite, or sometimes are opposite. Even a simple thing that you didn't think. As we talked earlier, that the Biden speech was negative, and I thought it was very positive.
I didn't say it was negative. I said it was very sad.
I said, okay.
It was sad, and it was sad, and it was not uplifting. It harkened back to almost a warning that we may be going through more and more and more months of this COVID situation. And I wanted to hear from my president that there was some light and there was some hope, but I didn't hear that from him. I heard from him that he would mandate that everybody would have the vaccine by May the 1st, which is 6 weeks away. I heard him blame President Trump for not being prepared, even though Trump had stopped the travel from China the end of January. I heard him saying that there weren't any vaccines available, when in fact I know that President Biden and Vice President Harris got vaccinated before any of us. In fact, before he was inaugurated. It's those little small facts that just stupefy me. I don't understand why someone of his bearing would need to twist things around, especially in a situation like this. Fortunately, both you and I have both had vaccines. Thank heavens for that. And I must say that when I got my second vaccine, there were tears in my eyes. I was so grateful to be able to get the vaccine. Am I going to go out and party? No, I will be visiting with friends that have also had the vaccine. I'm listening to what the science says and all of that, and I will probably end up wearing my mask until such time as we have the herd immunity.
Right, but
I wanted to hear something from my president that was positive and uplifting, and all I heard was blame. I heard darkness. I heard that if we don't do as the scientists say, that we could possibly have more rules and regulations again. I mean, what else can we do? What else can we do?
Yeah, well, the point is, I mean, how we both interpret it is one thing, but the thing is that we both interpret it differently, and that we both can talk about it you know, what I saw and what you saw, even though we saw the same thing, you know, we both interpret it differently. But this is what our show is about. This is what the difference is. If everything was the same, we could, you know, come in each week and talk and shake hands and kiss each other and say everything is fine.
Mhm.
You know, then we could, you know, do another show we'll call just friends. But I mean, the important thing is both of us are trying to see this matter. And I agree with you also. It's, you know, 75 million people, you know, voted one way, 80 million people voted the other way, and no one seems to be giving ground, and there has to be, you know, some ground given. So there's no difference in our thinking. And if there's a way of, you know, compromising, you know, I agree with that. But I mean,
We've always been able to, but we've always been able to compromise until all of a sudden it's
Okay.
like you can't express an opinion, and then you get fired. People are getting fired for having opinions.
So this is what we have to talk and bring out.
So how do we stop cancel
I
culture?
don't know. I disagree with a lot of things that are happening. I just, you know, again, the thing with typical thing with Andrew Cuomo. I don't know. I think if he did it, he should be impeached or he
Yeah.
should resign. I don't know whether he did it or not, and I don't know what you know, is harassment, because I think the Me Too movement goes too far also, and so do you. There's so many things that we do have in commonality, and
Well, I think, and I'll be honest with you, with the situation with Andrew Cuomo, many of my very conservative friends are all kind of leaping to this and saying, "Oh, this is great." But I said, "No, no, 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 no. You don't understand. If we needed due process with Brett Kavanaugh, and we had a dickens of a time getting it, we need to have due process with Governor Cuomo. I mean, all of these horrendous stories are horrendous.
right.
But even when I was sexually harassed, I had to prove it. And I know that's very uncomfortable. It's very
Yeah, I know, but
uncomfortable.
the whole thing is, I don't know what sexual harassment is. If I touch a woman on the shoulder and
That's
ask
not.
and
It's,
and
let me
ask
explain what
and
sexual
ask this,
harassment is.
I mean,
Sex,
I mean,
sex,
sometimes I go further. Sometimes I can ask you, "Oh, how was sex last week?" It was nothing. I mean, I am a male with you know, with my libido, and I think sex is fun. I don't think, "Oh my
right,
God, he spoke sex."
right,
As long as I'm not in a position that I could have you fired, or do you have to, or I have to
right.
say, if you don't do what I say, or you know, like my conversation, forget about it. You're not going to get a raise, or you're not.
That's what sexual harassment is.
Right.
It's an abuse of power.
Power.
And it is something where an individual, and it can be done very, very much by both males and females. And it's an abuse of power to direct someone to do something against his or her wishes
Right.
On a very personal level. And I know for me, I had to prove exactly what was going on. And like I said, it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But once again, I proved it. It was due process. It was taken care of.
Well,
That's what I want to see with Cuomo.
I get confused in certain things. Like, I mean, my thing is, if I was a teenager at this time, or if the laws were enacted when I was a teenager, I'd probably still be in jail. I mean, to me, if I went out with somebody and we were really getting along, and at the end of the night we were in my house or her house, and I started, you know, we used to call it making out.
Yeah.
And if I, you know, started getting a little forward, and she said no, no, no.
Mhm.
I mean, she still stayed on the couch with me,
Mhm.
she really didn't mean, no, she doesn't want me to.
And
It-
that's
it-
what needs to be, that's what needs to be taught.
Right. It meant, no, she shouldn't.
Right.
Because to me, if a woman says, no, 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 then they get up and slap me on the face and leave.
Mhm.
But if they're
That's right.
still there listening to the music and sipping the drink and saying, no,
Right.
no, no, it's no, I shouldn't do it. My mother told me I shouldn't.
That's right.
I mean, to me, that's not, sexual.
No, and I'll be honest with you, the way my mom always taught me was, as soon as you go through that thresholds of a man's apartment,
Mm.
once again, you're basically consenting.
Right,
And now I
right.
understand that we're supposed to say, oh, yes, yes, come off it, folks,
Right.
this is
But
ridiculous.
anyway, so that's, my confusion. But again, there's so many things aside from the, talking about where the Biden has said that, that it's Trump's fault doing this, or, playing Republican Democrat politics. There's certain good things and certain bad things, which I agree with you. And that's what we have to talk about. But the thing is, I'm not going to say, because you don't agree with me, I don't want to have the show with you. I don't want someone to agree with me in anything. I want to see the other points of view, which I might agree with, or I might see some sort of, leeway. And you do also. I mean, the thing is that I know that you're a good person.
And I know you're a good person too.
So no matter what happens, you're for the benefit of people.
Mhm.
And our question is, well, how do you get there? How do you, to me, it's not necessary whether you're an American or from another country.
Mhm.
We all feel for people that are poor. We all feel for people who are starving. Now, my thing is, how do we help them? And your thing is, how do we help them?
Right.
So
But for example, saying that we don't have a border crisis, we have a border crisis, Malcolm. We have a border crisis. The problem is you have too many people coming across the border that may or may not be able to take care of themselves. And once again, there is tremendous pressure on the United States to try and take care of those people. But if you have people who can't take care of themselves, what are we supposed to do? I mean,
a lot of the people that come here don't necessarily want to come here because of, we want to come to America. A lot of people who are coming here, especially from the South, the Central American countries, are running away from crime. They're running away from gangs. They're running away from their life being threatened.
mhm,
And I know a lot of people who came here because of that.
mhm,
So it's not that, oh, we want the freedom of America, we want to get American money. They want to live peaceful lives.
I understand that, but they can't go immediately onto welfare. They've got to have something to be able to add to things. You worked your way through college. I worked my way through college. I mean, heck, I had my first job when I was 8 years old, for crying out loud. You work and you earn your
Right,
way
but
and you earn your
I
pay.
agree, but our immigration laws haven't changed in I don't know how many years. The Congress can't, there should be a certain way of saying, okay, we can get the people that can't get into,
Mhm.
they can't be on welfare, but can they get jobs? Can they have sort of work permits? It has to be like a work permit. We have in California over here, if the, illegal Latinos that come in wouldn't pick the fruits would die on the vine because they're not going to get people that are going to do it.
Mhm.
You have to have temporary work permits.
Absolutely. I have to agree. And I
So
don't have a problem with that. But what I don't want to have happen is for example, I gave you the example of my brother who's now currently in Santa Barbara. And he called me in an absolute panic. Now, he is a devoted, absolutely staunch Democrat who is starting to turn away. And the reason is because he's in the contracting business. And he said that he has not been able to get a job ever since Biden opened up the borders. And why? Because there are thousands of people that are now flooding into Santa Barbara and they're taking all of the work. And how are they doing it? They're literally going door to door. And I don't, my brother, like I said, did not support Trump, did not support any of this. So I have to take him at his word.
yeah,
But he said they're going door to door, picking out all of the jobs that I normally would do. And once again, he's going to be on welfare. He will be on food stamps, and he is an American citizen.
but the question is, did this happen all in 4 weeks?
Yes, 4 to 6 weeks. Absolutely.
Because he
And
didn't.
he was astounded. And of
Yeah,
course, then he
I'd be
calls
astounded,
me up. Well, he calls me up and says, sis, I can't believe this, but you were right. And I said, what do you mean I was right? I don't want to be right. What about what? And he mentioned this, and I was stunned. But
Yeah,
those are the
I'm stunned.
reality.
I'm stunned if that's true, because again, from
It is true.
what I hear is they're not letting the border, unless it's people sneaking across the border, not going through the, the gates, or climbing over the fences or something. Because
Well,
as far as I hear, but again, this is what we have to fathom out. This is what we have. This is
so what do you do in a situation like this? You cannot, and it's amazing to me is that even, President Biden's not talking about this being a crisis. This is a crisis. We're at this point right now, we have got to be able to assimilate people who want to work here in the United States to add benefit to the United States and simply not suck off the tips.
We both agree upon that. But I think a lot of the people who are coming over, whether they're legal or illegal, would love to work.
Mhm.
I don't know. I know between New York and Los Angeles, I know a lot of people who came over who are, don't have, the proper credentials, do the green cards and things,
Yep.
who are very hardworking people.
Absolutely.
And
In
they're
fact,
not,
right down the street, we have a gentleman who will remain nameless. He cannot speak English. He's been here for 15 years, and thank heavens I got enough Spanish so that I could glean that. Very, very hard worker. But I asked him, I said, why have you not tried to get citizenship? You're the type of person that America needs. You're very hardworking. He does construction work, lays tile, hangs doors, windows, all of those types of things. And it's not that other Americans wouldn't take that job. It's just that he's extremely good at doing it. And I asked him, why are you not doing this? And once again, he said there was no reason for him to do that. He could continue to be here, as he said, illegally, because it just didn't seem like the thing to be able to do. Well, it needs to be the thing to do. We need to get that taken care of.
no, we have to do the people who, to me, the only reason to, aside from the fact why someone should be legal or illegal, or if they have the same benefits, is the ability to vote. Voting is the thing that makes a democracy, as we
So
just.
would you have non-citizens be able to vote?
No, I would have them become citizens.
Thank you.
I would do a gateway to citizenship, but that's kind of hard to become a citizen if you came here illegally. That's what the whole thing is. How do we get, there are people, I don't know, 10 million, 15 million, how many, it depends on who you listen to, that have been in this country for many years who are not legal or here illegally, but there's no gate, there's no step for them to become citizens. Even the dreamers. The dreamers who came here when they were, 1, 2, 3 years old, who are maybe college students now, there's no gateway for them to become citizens. So that's what we have to work out.
I have to agree. And pardon my language, why the hell hasn't it been worked out?
Because nobody's agreeing upon it. Our Congress is non-functional. But the question is, this is what we talk about. We don't talk about the hate. If it's hate, if it's prejudice against Latinos, if it's prejudice against Black, if it's prejudice against this, that's something else.
That's a whole different thing.
Well, someone always has to look down on other groups to feel good, especially like not middle class. It's the old thing. Even what am I going to say in New York, where there were a lot of Italians and from different groups, and I remember it was the Romans looked down on the Sicilians, and the Sicilians looked down on the Calabrese. And even in the same groups, it's when the big Jewish migration of the early 20th century, and they came to the Lower East Side. Who were against the migration? The Jews that came in the 1800s, because they didn't want people to see, oh, those are what Jews are like.
Yeah.
Because especially the religious, still wore their traditional thing. It's the same thing. It's with the Irish during the potato famine. They came in. Who was against them? The established Irish in this country. Everybody wants to look down upon somebody so they could feel superior.
But bottom line is that we have government to be able to say that regardless of your race, that in fact you should be given those rights that are guaranteed by the Bill of Rights and by the Constitution.
Well, it's funny, I was just talking to somebody, or I saw on a TV show, they're talking about, well, let's do, what did the framers have in mind? What did, the people who did the Constitution, we should think about, we should go back to their thoughts. Therefore, you wouldn't be able to vote.
I know.
No women.
I know.
So you have to start, taking it not as it was then, but how it is now. But again,
you know what I'm talking about.
But going back, this is not what we're really talking about. What I want to talk about is, why the hell don't you want to do the show? Are you just tired of talking to me? You don't think?
No. I love talking to you. It's fascinating. The only problem that I have, okay, we have got to establish some facts. When we chatted earlier about the situation with the illegal immigrants, listen, I do not bullshit you, okay? I do not come up with stuff out of my left ear about things. There is integrity. We have integrity with our relationship, and we've got to have integrity. We have got to agree on certain types of facts. We got started with this situation where you were saying there was no way that number of immigrants could be coming over the border. There is a way. There was over 100,000 people that they caught since the Biden administration took office. 100,000 people. That's maybe a tenth of the number of people who have come over the border. That's a real problem. Speaking of an immigrant.
Yeah.
Hello, Gracie. Sorry.
Gracie was a big hit, by the way, a few weeks ago. But the thing is, if we don't talk about it, again, that's a problem with, as we were talking about, with our news, because depending on which newscast you listen to, it has two different stories. So what you have to be able to do is, like, I read the newspaper.
Yeah, so do I.
And I get certain facts from them, and there's certain facts that seem my way, certain facts that seem your way. So again, it's not. I'm not sure why we do, but the thing is,
facts are facts. Facts are not skewed to mine, or facts are not skewed to you. They're facts. We have to agree on basically a set of facts as to what's going on.
Oh, I think I forgot who did the great quote. I think it was Kellyanne about facts.
Oh Lord,
that
poor woman. That poor woman married to that guy.
But I think we have too much commonality and too much common sense. The only thing I could say to you is that if you feel threatened by our show, that certain views that you have are heard by, I don't think we heard. Hopefully, I thought we were heard by people, but I didn't know we're heard by that many people. But if you feel threatened, okay, that's a matter that's up to you to see if you want to continue or not. But the question that I see different things from what you see, I mean, that should be discussed. And plus, we're discussing other aspects of life. And we're talking about art, we're talking about music, we're talking about what people should do. We're talking about the changing South, which has nothing, is not threatening to anybody. So there's so many things that we talk about life, and both of us, I mean, you're a lot younger than me, but I've seen it. But I've seen a lot, and again, your opinions are important, because your opinions sort of are a little different from my opinions. I mean, a lot different. So, but we have to settle things. But for you to say, now for you to feel, or we see things differently, so therefore I can't do the show. I mean, that's like saying, okay, let's dissolve the government. They don't see it.
Well, what's interesting, but I understand what you're saying, and it's what really does, honest to God, does concern me, is this situation where we cannot have discussions about very important issues without people being canceled, without people being threatened. For example, I'll give you, we talked to this. We were going to, my husband and I were going to a presentation in front of the Metropolitan Art Council.
Yeah.
and we were crossing the street, Main Street, going over to the Poinsett Hotel, all right? And there was a group of demonstrators that were there in front of the Poinsett Hotel. And we walked on up. We had to go through the demonstrators to get to our location there. But I stopped just for a second and I looked at one young woman's sign. I read the sign and I looked at the woman and she was looking directly at me, didn't say a word. And I said, I'm really confused. What are you demonstrating for? And she looked at me. I said, she said, can't you read? And I said, I can read, but I don't understand what your sign says. And then at that point, she started to walk towards me, started screaming and swearing, and started to push me away. And I looked at her, and of course, I'm a big girl, and I looked at her straight in the eye. So what in the world are you doing? I'm honestly asking you a question. You can't tell me what you're protesting about? And she just went off again, at which point I said, I'm retreating. I'm getting out of here. Went into the hotel and I talked with the bellman that was there. And Mike told me, well, they're there all the time and they've been there ever since Trump announced his candidacy. And I said, what am I, in a time warp or something? I said, what? Trump has been gone for how many months? I said, this is crazy. What are we doing, Malcolm? What the hell is going on here?
Right, but I agree with you on both ways, and both of them are, I don't agree with certain things that the far left does, and I don't agree with certain things that are happening, and I'm more or less, I lean towards that, and I'm much more liberal than you. Actually, I don't think I'm more liberal than you. But both of us, if we could work together and we could set the laws, I think we would straighten a lot of things out.
Yeah.
But the question is, by being silent doesn't do anything. By being silent is against your nature and against my nature. I mean, again, I don't want someone to say, Malcolm, you're right. Malcolm, you're right. This is that. This is that. And I'm not going to talk to someone who doesn't think, because obviously that person that confronted you with someone that's irrational, doesn't think from as you describe it. I can't deal with people who, again, who just don't go into lockstep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lockstep with the Democratic Party. I don't go in lockstep with anybody. I'm like you. I'm an independent. But again, not to do anything is by giving up. And
so what can we do? I'm leaning over here. I'm patting my little girl.
As I say, we continue. And the only thing that I would give you and let you sort of like slide away into the distance is if you feel that you're in physical jeopardy. That I can't. I can understand that, and I can like when I see the crime shows. And someone doesn't want to, like Law and Order, and someone doesn't want to testify because they have to live in the area and their family is threatened. I can see that.
Yeah, I
can see it's a safety issue, but not to. That is the only thing I could say. Okay, it's fine. We're friends. We won't do our show. But the thing is, I love this give and take. I mean, I don't say, oh my God, she's such a bad person. She's horrible. You're a good person. I know that.
And you're a good person too.
We have a different stand, and you happen to believe different things from different newscasts or things that you read. But I'm inundated on the other side. I don't see the thing, unless you could keep on sending me the articles.
Oh, I will.
Do it, and then we'll talk about it.
I will.
But again, not to talk to me is, well, my word is criminal, but I'm not sure. I mean,
what do you think, Grace? What do you think, Grace?
I enjoy it. I don't know if I enjoy the give and take. I don't know if you do as much as I do, or if it's only me and you talking. If no one else is listening to the show, I have no idea. Sometimes I have hundreds of people, sometimes I don't. But even if nobody's listening to the show, I enjoy it. And it takes up, a half hour, 45 minutes of my time. This is my life. This is what I'm reading. It could be just me and you. Said if you were here, it could be me and you having a cup of coffee over at Starbucks.
Yeah.
and talking about. But anyway, would you believe
All
it?
right, all right, all right, all right.
Are
You're
we,
right.
are we
You're
going?
right. We're on. We're back on.
Are-
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. If we don't talk these issues out, I mean, we've got to talk these
You're right.
issues out, and we've got to come up with solutions. We've got to come up with ideas, because I got to tell you, here in South Carolina, I am getting very, very concerned. Aren't you? Yes. I'm trying to be serious here, but I am getting very concerned. The level of anger is perceptibly increasing, and that is not a good thing. That is not a good thing.
Well, number one, we have to listen, and number two, we have to give the present government a chance.
We do, but
I mean, you're right. There's certain things in the package that I don't agree with. In the Rescue America package, I think it's called Rescue America.
Yeah.
Package, but there's certain things that are good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, there are lots that are good. And I know
But I
that,
think it's important, though, that they should have had some sort of Republican, a couple of Republicans come on over. There needs, listen, when you and I were in the 80s and the 90s, everybody was screaming at one another, but they all went out to have coffee afterwards.
I know.
And it came out with solutions.
Yeah, I don't want to end this in a political discussion, but the atmosphere that the last president left us was a very toxic, whether it was his fault or not. I'm not saying it's his fault. I believe it's his fault. You don't, but the situation was very toxic. Let's give the present administration, a little time to remedy certain things. He seems to be more wants to, deal with people. He talks to people. He also, no matter what you say, if he wasn't positive enough, he has the compassion. He's been through a lot of problems with his, in his own personal life. He has the compassion for people. Let's see how this works. Let's see if we could.
But he's got to stop blaming the former administration, and his Democratic representatives have got to stop blaming those people that voted for the last administration.
Right.
You cannot be doing this.
Well, there's a certain wing, but as I say, today is the first day of the rest of your life.
That's true.
And anyway, so I'll see you Friday.
Yeah, you'll see me Friday.
By the way, if during the week, if you have problems, give me a call, sit down on my couch, and I won't charge you. Bye. Send my love to Fish.
Say goodbye, Gracie.
Goodbye.
Bye,